everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I just realized my countdown clock was off. I meant to turn that off. So anyway, I see Not a Lizard Person is here. Tune In Official, Michael Hennessy, 231 Recording Studio, Smoke Spun's here, Boots is here, Alien Intelligence Agency, Two-Headed Monster, and today I'm just going to be talking about some stuff, and it's nothing crazy, but it's just some stuff that's been on my mind, stuff I've talked about in other videos, and I'm actually going to start off with some small stuff before I get to the big stuff. And I see it's just Mellows here. God, man, my eyesight is so terrible. I think it's Cameron is here. There's Harry. I see Elsine. Man, I can't say these names right. Anyway, over on Twitch, and I don't know if Casey's going to make it or not. I see Photo is here, and yeah, I'm supposed to actually go get new glasses like tomorrow or something, but everybody's busy. Crystal's not here today because she's doing the she's a polling official for the vote here in Georgia, so she's doing that. And Harper couldn't make it today because they actually have a job. So Harry's helping me out today. And yeah, so here's the other thing. I will take some questions later if somebody wants to talk about the stuff that I'm talking about. But I'm going to get through all this stuff I want to say. I took some notes so I can remember to say everything. And also, I don't really want to do any questions about gear and equipment. It's like that's a different kind of stream. And also, it's like, oh no, God. And also, it's like, no. A lot of times people ask me about gear, and I actually don't really care about gear unless I got to buy it. So I don't want to get into all that. So yeah, I need Zoom lessons. Yes, it is. I guess it's kind of a serious stream. First off, small thing I want to talk about. Two small things. One is I got a copyright claim from last week's live stream where I released 2 music videos of 2 songs that I put out, and it was kind of funny. I got a copyright notice for the Long Distance Runner song because I had run that through TuneCore and all that. The other one I still haven't gotten on TuneCore. Long story. And so it gets the copyright claim. But the thing is, this is actually my official artist channel. So I guess they sent me the whole thing where I can dispute it. So I disputed my own claim. So I will get a message so that I can, I guess, approve myself. It's the stupidest thing. But I have to deal with this stuff. And it's one of these things where it's like, I think a lot of this stuff is AI. There's not humans there. The stuff I have to go through to actually talk to people and get through all that. Anyway, the other thing, and I was actually going to get a little deeper into this, but I think I'll make it a whole other video, is like I get tons of emails every day because of this channel from companies wanting to do these collaborations. And I steer away from that stuff because people send me gear sometimes, but I make no guarantees and I don't accept any money. If I like it, I'll use it and I'll show up. But I look at these emails and they're all AI companies. And there was one that was like, hey, why don't you collaborate with us and we can train the AI on your music and then do music that sounds like you. And I'm like, why the hell would I do that? It's the stupidest thing. But there's other things too, like gardening equipment. I've had people want to do collaborations on my channel where I guess I'm promoting garden equipment, kitchen bath towels, sex toys, all sorts of things. They come every day. I think I just need to make a whole video about that. That's just the silly stuff. So Harry's going to keep track of things. If anybody's got a question, hey, Randy, what's going on? Mr. Easy J. Several people popped on. I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to try to stay focused. My ADHD is going to go. So I wrote some notes down, but I want to get through this because all this is kind of important. And it all ties into some stuff that's going on with the channel, but also some conversations I've had with people and a bunch of work. The first thing I want to talk about is why did I start this YouTube channel? And there are several reasons. Originally, it's because one of my kids, Luna, told me that I should make a movie about my life, because I'm always telling stories about stuff I did with my siblings, like sneaking around Berlin, West Berlin, Germany during the Cold War and doing crazy things, like literally sneaking into places that were high security installations, but I could get in and out because I was a kid. Me and my sister could climb trees. The stupid stuff. We could have been shot for this stuff. Or going down to the Turkish ghetto and buying hashish when we could have been knifed or killed doing that, but we didn't even know that. Or playing in roadhouse dives in cover bands and the crazy stuff I did. Riding my motorcycle to Key West and back. And meeting my wife and the stuff that we did, like getting lost and getting off trail and lost on a ice-covered mountain in the middle of a blizzard and taking 3 hours to hike about a quarter mile to get to the freaking road and hike off the mountain. I thought we were going to freeze to death. And, you know, that would all be cool. And of course, all the stories about my music career and all that. I've got tons and tons of stories. But first off, making a movie is a lot of work, and who the hell would watch it anyway? So I thought, well, maybe I can do it on the YouTube channel. But it's kind of like I didn't know how to start it. I didn't know how to do it. I just kind of kept putting it off and putting it off. But that in the course of that, I started looking at other YouTube videos, and I just started noticing all these people giving terrible advice about mixing and production and stuff like that. And it actually got me really angry. And I thought, like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to show people the right way, or at least my way, and dispel some of this stuff, because I think there's a lot of bad information out there. And I can't stand fake experts misleading people. Even true experts can be misleading if the context isn't right. And so that was a big motivation for me, but I still wasn't getting it done. I was kind of like looking at it and thinking about like learning how to do it all and all that. During all this time, I was working with some artists that I had, you know, one of them, a couple of them I just signed, and then some of them were paid artists, but I was actually also helping them with the development process. And a big part of my career has been you develop an artist and you either go get them a record deal or something happens, but it all leads to making money, and it's been a big part of what blew up my career. But for years and years and years, well, not years and years and years, I'd say starting maybe about 10 or 12 years ago, that process didn't work anymore. It took me a while to figure it out, and I'd been working with these artists, and I was putting a lot of time into them, and one in particular, and none of them would do the things that needed to be done, like posting on social media and gigging and just all the things that you got to do. There's a bunch of them. And one of them was, it was such a big failure. It almost destroyed me, like financially. Like I put a lot of money into this artist and literally almost bankrupted me. I don't know how I made it through it, because it was huge, and, you know, money I put into it, time into it, you know, opportunity cost, things that weren't happening. And I got so freaking angry. And I finally decided, well, I'm just going to do what I've been telling these people to do. Even though they're like 20 or 30 years younger than me, an old man, I'm going to take everything that I said that they should do, and I'm going to do it for myself. And I kind of felt like I needed to just do it. I was so angry. It's like, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. I'm going to do it for myself. Not necessarily as originally as a music artist, but just to do the process. And I realized that that's always been the way it is for me. And I don't know if anger is the right word, but anger and desperation are huge things for me. And, God, hold on. I'm getting text messages. And I know I told Harry to hit me up with questions. Harry, just hold on for a while. Okay, that's not you. Somebody else is texting me. I'm going to put this over here. The things that have driven my career have been, I use the word anger just because I get really angry and worked up about shit. But maybe it's a different word. I don't really know. But it is things like watching things, seeing things that I don't think are right that I want to fix, or working with people and it's just being so stupid. And I'm like, fuck that shit. But desperation, the desperation of wanting to make something. And it's not about proving things to anyone else. It's about doing what I want to do at the quality I want to do it, the way I want to do it. So when I started the YouTube channel, my early videos were kind of with that kind of vibe. They're like really over the top, a lot of anger. You should go look at some of the early ones. I left them up there. Some of them are a little embarrassing because I wasn't really good at what I was doing, but also the vibe was kind of weird. And uh, eventually I calmed down, and I kind of ran out of the rants, like trying to get that anger up and that crazy energy. I mean, that's why the channel's called Freaking Out with Billy Hume. Although that part's easy, I freak out all the time. And I also realized that in addition to not being able to keep the ranting energy up for every freaking video, you run out of that stuff. I also realized that explaining technical and production stuff in videos is actually not only hard to do, it's actually kind of boring, but it's also kind of like it doesn't do much good if there's not a connection to the context of what the artist is trying to do, what I'm doing, a deeper understanding of music, and also where you want to go with your life, because it's not like the old days of the music business where everything was kind of geared towards getting a record deal. There's a lot of reasons you can do music, either for fun but professionally. There's a lot of avenues now. And I started veering away from that because I just felt like, it's also really hard to do. But I realized, I would just rather tell stories and make music and have fun. So over the last year or so, I started to blend my stories, production advice and knowledge, my music, and my passion. And maybe that's a way to move forward. So if you've actually watched my videos, you'll see it's actually really hard to do, but try to figure out, like, can I get my story in there in a way that's valid and makes some sense, not just to tell the story, but can I piece it all together? I've been working on it. And the last video I put out, the real reason why older records sound better, what's interesting is I got a lot of comments about that, and people said things like, this is the best music production video I've ever seen. And I was like, oh, is that what it is? It's a music production video? I thought I was making a mini documentary kind of rant video about how I feel about older records and why they sound better than newer records, right? But I realized, like, oh man, they're getting something from us. And it's like when you're working on a song and you blend all the elements that are important to you, like your songwriting, but your life story and your emotion and all that, and you create a really good song, and then people hear it, everybody kind of gets a different meaning from it. And I realized, like, oh, that's kind of what some of these videos are like. When I look at the comments, people get different meanings from the videos. They get different, like, the things that they point at, and that's really, really cool. I actually really like that. So I feel like, wow, that's a really good thing. I feel like I'm figuring out how to move forward, and I think that's the direction I'm going to be going, and I've got some plans for the videos. They're actually really hard to make. They take a long time to make, and but that's what I want to do. I'm not going to be able to put out a video like that once a week until I can afford to hire people to help me. So I'm going to keep on this path because that's what I want to do. It makes sense. And it actually ties all the way back to what Luna said to me about telling my life story. It's just going to be in a lot of little teeny pieces there. However, the thing I'm struggling right now is with these regular live streams. I love live streaming, but it's hard because if I have something I want to talk about, or some music to work on, or just some vision, it's all great. But sometimes I don't really feel like I have much to say. And then often I get off a live stream and I'm depressed because I feel like the live stream kind of sucked. I feel like, did I really deliver what I wanted to deliver? Because I tend to look at the live streams as like a show, like, oh, I'm going on stage and I'm going to do this show. And sometimes I feel like I just it meandered, or it got slow here, and it's like, oh, it's almost like, you're halfway through the set and you're like, oh, this song's dragging and we didn't do it that well. It's like, that's how I feel about it. And I get really, really depressed about the live stream sometimes. And sometimes I won't stream because I don't have an idea. I don't feel like I have anything of value, although lately it's mainly because I've been working a lot. I do actually have to make money, so I've been mixing a lot lately, and I've had a couple bands in the studio. And I almost didn't stream today because of all that stuff, but I got an email a couple days ago from a longtime supporter. This has been one of I call them super fans, and this has been somebody who's been around a long time and emails me stuff, and we have some personal conversations. And they sent me an email, and it took me a couple days to get back to it, and it was really, really heavy. I'm not going to get into a lot of it because a lot of personal stuff in there. But they said something after we went back and forth, and I wasn't holding anybody's hands. I came back and said to them some stuff like, "Hey, what the hell are you talking about?" I was like, but we had that kind of relationship, I guess. But they said something in the email, and it was really important, and I'm going to read it right here. They said, as always, your words are very powerful and moving to me, whether you realize it or not. I've been so very encouraged by you and your family, even from afar. It reminds me of what love in a creative household can be. I'm sure it's far from perfect. We all know our own foibles. But just being able to watch somebody making it has been a huge influence and encouragement to me. And that really hit me. That was really strong. I had to stop, and then I was going to go to bed, but it's like, no, typing, all this stuff. And, which I don't actually normally do, even though I get a ton of emails. There's only so much of that I can do, but this person, there's a connection there. And the other thing is why it really hit me. It really encouraged me, and it was great. But the other thing is I have no perspective of the impact I'm having because I'm focused on my work, and for most of my life, I've lived inside my imagination. For most of my life, I've lived inside my imagination. It's a requirement of my job. Plus, I'm probably on the autism spectrum. I don't always understand people. I don't know social cues. I don't know what the fuck is going on around me. It used to be way worse back then. And I have this I had this weird life. Like, even when I was working on a lot of rap music, and I went for years where I had something on the Billboard charts every day for years, because I was doing that kind of work. I actually kind of wasn't aware of it because I don't listen to the radio. I don't go to the clubs. There's like these things I'm involved with, and I don't go to events. I don't go to a lot of things. And at least, like, for a while I didn't. And but I'm not always aware of what the impact is that I have around people around me, just because I'm in here. I'm in here all the freaking time. My wife is very well aware of the fact that when she speaks to me, I'm only absorbing about 50% of anything she's saying to me. So she's got to say it like 2 or 3 times so it all gets in there. But when they wrote that to me about what the live streams mean to them and all that, it was like, oh wow, that's really cool. And it actually got me thinking that maybe I should stream today, because I want to kind of talk about some of this stuff and some other conversations that we had. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to take this damn phone and hide it. Hey, Harry, don't text me after all, because now I don't know. I told you to text me questions, but now I'm getting... See, no, this is not you. Hold on. I think I know who it is. Oh, boy. Okay, Man. Okay, Nikki, please do not text me. I do not know how you got this number. Thank you for being a loyal fan, but please do not text me during streams. Oh, my God. This is driving me nuts. Now I got to put my phone somewhere. Nikki, please stop. It's hard to ignore the phone. I feel responsible. Plus, there's things going on, too. I'm actually working on a single for Mike Clark Jr., and they're on Atlantic Records, and it's kind of a big deal. And today, I think everything's cool, but today was the deadline. I got to kind of pay attention. Well, I'm not going to pay attention now. So, anyway, that's why I'm live streaming today, and I wanted to thank the person who sent me this email. They know who they are. It really moved me, and I hope what I was able to say back was helpful. This shit is not easy. Like, life isn't easy, but to be an artist is very, very, very hard. And there's something that I call the artist's paradox. I'm actually working on a video about it, but I wanted to talk about some of that today because it's come up with that email I had with my fan, and also some conversations I've had with people in the studio lately. And I have 7 main artist paradoxes. I'm just going to talk about one of them today because to me, it's the one that I think most people talk about, and that is mixing art and music. As somebody said to me recently, they said, I've avoided mixing money and art like the plague. And that kind of hit me. I was like, wow, damn, that's kind of some heavy shit. I never really struggled that much because I well, let me back up a little bit. I think I never really struggled with the whole idea of mixing art and commerce because I never had, a good job. I've always struggled. So it was just always the thing. But also, even though I was into making money, like I built my studio to make money, I would actually sometimes get to the end of a session and then everybody's be standing there and in my studio and there'd be this awkward thing and everybody's looking around like, and I'm like, what is it? And then they'd go, are we supposed to pay you? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And I'd, figure out the hours and get paid. That happened so many times because I'd get so into it. And so I've just never really struggled with that, but I get it. And for most of the people I worked with for years, money was always a very difficult thing to talk about, or any kind of business, like, song splits, like who's getting how much, who's gonna get this ownership of the song and all that. And people would get all weird about it. And it always seemed weird to me. It's like, it's just something that we gotta deal with. And what the change from me, I mean, I was already kind of not that concerned with it, but the thing that I saw is when I started doing rap music, that rappers, they'll discuss it in the middle of a session with no problem. There'll be some heavy duty debates about cuts and stuff like that during a session, but yet when it's done, it's like, cool. And the fact that maybe somebody will be there and they'll be like maybe asking for too much money, either for a feature. I'll give you a great example. Here's a great example. I was working with Collie Park, who produced all the Yin Yang Twins stuff. And he worked with Soulja Boy, and he did that Wobble song, and a bunch of stuff. And he's got the Mike Clark Jr. guy thing. And there's this one session we had, and he brought in a rapper to do a feature, and they were huge. But their hit had been, several years ago, back when they were probably able to charge $10,000, $20,000 just to show up for an hour and do a hook. And this guy came in, and they were getting ready to do the session, and they said, let's go outside and talk. And then they talked. And then when they came back in, they were kind of laughing. It was cool, and the guy did the track, and he left. After he left, Collie Park told me, he said, that guy was asking for $10,000 to do this thing. And I was like, oh, God, what did you say? Like, I would have been offended. And he said, I was just like, hey, man, I get it. You're worth that much. And I know you were making that kind of money back then, but it has been a little while, and I just don't have that kind of budget. How about $1,500? And the guy's like, cool. I was like, oh, wow. And Collie Park's like, I respect him for trying. I respect him for asking for it, but also being able to negotiate down. And it's why they went outside, which is a cool thing. But that was the thing that I noticed, that people would have these debates, and there'd even be some like respect for the fact that the guy asked too much money. That's way more than he's worth. But hey, man, at least he tried, and they were able to work it out and get on with it. And I remember thinking about, like, wow, that's kind of cool that they can do that. But why could they do that? And it was because most of the rappers I worked with, they didn't think about what they were doing as art at all. They thought of it more like a sport. I think they saw themselves as like free agents, like baseball players or whatever. Like, they can jump to this team and they're going to work for this team. They're going to jump from this and do this team. And there would be times in the studio where I might play a guitar part on something and somebody look at it and go, oh, it's like art. I'm like, duh. And that really bothered me. But over time, I realized, here's the funny thing about it. When you actually don't take yourself so seriously, you actually free yourself up to just do something really cool. It's like, oh, we don't have to like be artists. We're just trying to do something catchy that's going to make us some money. And the competition to get on the charts and make money and all that causes you to sometimes push some boundaries and do something actually innovative. And I found often that we were doing some pretty innovative and different stuff, whether you like rap or not. And I'm actually not a huge rap fan. I mean, I play mandolin, but I got what they were doing. And there were some things that we did. It's like, wow, I've never heard this before, this kind of sound. And I feel the fact that they weren't taking themselves so seriously and weren't thinking of it as art, actually, paradoxically, meant that they were able to go and do something pretty artistic. And I was like, what a concept. And that was like a really big deal for me, that sometimes by taking yourself so seriously and putting all this pressure on yourself to be an artist, I have to be a great artist, which I actually do on a regular basis. But I found a way to kind of mix it in and go, okay, I will live and breathe and eat my art, and I'll take it really seriously. But I'm also able to go like, it sucks. It's like, it's interesting. I get in here and I'm working out this part, and once again, I was working with rap music, that watching the process and watching the ability to discard something, even maybe something that I spent hours on. It's like, oh, I like the guitar part, and then going like, that's actually not really helping the song. Nobody's going to understand. It's just kind of getting in the way. That I was able to learn how to balance between being an artist and then kind of not taking it as seriously and throwing things away. But the interesting thing is, when I've worked with artists that come in and say, oh, this is all about the art. We don't care about having a hit song. We're just doing it for the art. They make really boring records typically. And paradoxically, every single one of those bands that came in and claimed, we're doing it for the art, we're above making money and blah, 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 every single one of them towards the end of the project would go, which one do you think is the single? And I'd be like, single? The hell are you talking about? You made a 20-minute long... what are you talking about? And, oh, you actually do want to have a single. And then they're like, hey, do you know any people at record labels? I'm like, come on, let's be honest about it. So what I realized about mixing commerce and art is that if you don't care if it sells, do you really care if it's heard? If you don't care if it's heard, why are you doing it in the first place? And I guess it's okay. Yeah, it's okay to make music just for yourself, but don't get don't get mad at everybody else for not banging your door down to hear it, or wanting to, or even understanding it to connect with anybody else. Because if you're doing music just for yourself and for the art of it, which is fine, there's no pressure to go back and redo anything. You make something, you go, oh, it makes me feel good. And I know there's people that, like me, I will go and I will dig in and perfect things for my own reasons. But yet I learned those things from doing commercial work, because people would come in, and you got to realize that, like, here's the difference. When you're doing art just for yourself, it doesn't matter at anybody. Nothing's at stake. It's just, you're just doing it for fun. Totally fine. You're doing it for commercial reasons. There's people's careers, there's investments, there's marketing plans. All this is at stake based on what I and some other people are making. That forces us to really look at it and look at it and look at it. And even though I didn't always agree with some of the decisions or the things I was asked to do, I always learned something from it. And it also opened my mind to, like, oh, different possibilities. Like yesterday when Collie Park was here with his brother Derek, and we're going over this new Mike Clark Jr. song. It's actually pretty jamming, but we'd worked on the mix, and then they went home, and then he hit me up in the morning and says, can I just come over for a couple hours? I'm like, yeah, come on over. And they did a bunch of, they came up with these ideas about these drops, and then there's some horns in it and moving them around. And it was amazing, like, oh, the song's really popping now. It went from like, hey, it's a pretty good song, and it sounds like a hit song now. Hopefully it will become a hit. But it's like one of those things. I wouldn't have thought of some of that stuff. I mean, as a mixer, it's their job to think about it. But the fact that they went and thought about it, because this artist is at a point where he's starting to come up, but they're competing. There's some market things going on. They're on Atlantic Records. There's a lot of people. They got to come up with a song that's going to work. So they thought, what else can we tweak here? And I thought, wow, it actually made the record way, way, way better. But would you do that if you were just doing it for the fun of it? Probably not, I've learned how to balance the art and the commerce in the production process, emotionally and psychologically, but I don't really know how to explain it completely. I mean, there is a point where I think I quit. I was able to kind of detach emotionally in certain areas without losing the attachment with the song and the inspiration. But mixing money and art is how I became so damn good. I've always been pretty good because I screwed around the basement I did for so long, but being in those situations and being put under fire, it's just, and seeing people make stupid decisions for art and money, because that's the thing too. You have to you got to do the commerce thing, got to make sure it works, but you still have to put the song, the structure of the song and what it is on top. And it's a weird balance. And you get to a point where hopefully you're doing it without really thinking about it. But that is what got me to be so good. But it also weeds out people that aren't very serious about working on music for a career. But bottom line is, like, if you're gonna avoid mixing art and money, then don't expect ever to make any money from doing your art. My suggestion is you embrace it. It's all right. I mean, look at it this way. What would you rather do to make money? Your art or something that you hate? A job you don't want to be at? Maybe, you got to do some stuff once in a while that seems a little weird, but fucking so what, man? Like, it's better than having a freaking job. I mean, come on. And you can always, and I still do this, I do music just for the art of it. Like, I've like the freaking song that I put out last week, the song Aura that a bunch of you heard. Go and listen to it. There's no verse. There's no chorus. It starts, there's a little intro. I sing this thing. I don't know if it's a verse or what. Then it goes into this little string section. Then there's a broken down thing where I do a guitar solo. Then it goes in this little jam. And then me and Sky do this singing chant thing. And then the freaking song ends. And I just liked that. And I have no expectations of that becoming a hit or anything. I think the video is pretty damn good. But, and then I can turn around. I can do a dance song. Don't stand next to me. Hopefully y'all will hear it. We'll see if that turns into a hit. So my suggestion is decide. If you want to make money at it, and if you want to do it for a living, then you're going to have to embrace it, and it's all right. Just get over the shit is all I got to say. Okay, that's that. And I could go on more about that, but I would be here all freaking day. I'm intentionally not looking at the comments because I'm trying to stay focused here. I'm going to come back to y'all. So hold on. I'm going to come back to y'all. I have to focus here, or next thing you know, I'm going to be talking about pirate ships and the proper way to grout your tile if we go down that thing. And I'm trying to stay focused on my rants today. Okay, there is a proper way to grout your tile. Not that I was ever any good at it. Oh, here I go. We're not going to talk about tiling today. All right. The other one, I call it missed opportunity and all the bitching. And I'm going to try to see how I can explain this one because it actually is really freaking frustrating for me. And that is people think you got to get lucky in the music business, and you do. But God, now I'm going to get into another subject here about luck. Luck can be created. I do have a video about that. But the key to the thing is that you don't often recognize an opportunity when it appears there. And you end up bitching about it all the time. But there have been opportunities that were there. I looking back, I realized I missed that one. So I actually get a lot of texts from people wanting to collaborate all the freaking time. And I used to do more. I just don't have time anymore. And I'm kind of careful about what I collaborate on. At this point in my life, I don't do anything. The only thing I'm doing that's not paying me a check at the end of the day or whatever is the YouTube channel and my music. Everything else I'm doing is like, you got to pay me because I'm working on this. I used to do a lot more just collaborations in front of it. I don't have the time anymore. I'm really focused on this thing right here. But I do get these, and even though I'm not going to get into a long-term collaboration with somebody, I do keep the door open. There have been multiple times where people hit me. I'm like, man, I want to work on something. I want to work with you. I'm like, well, come out to my live stream. Like now, I will work on something for free on the live stream if I like your music and I think you might be good in front of a camera. Because some people are terrible. They're terrible on the live stream. And I'm not going to bring somebody on the live stream that's going to bring it down. You have no idea how many people don't show up. I know I'm a little bit of a drive from Atlanta. I get it. But everything's far in Atlanta, right? It's been so many people. And I'm like, yo, come on out to the live stream. Come on out to the live stream. I will work on something. And you've seen a couple of them, but most people don't show up. Or there's people that I've been talking to for years over time about let's do something together. And it's not just let's do something for fun. I can actually see a way that they can take their situation in life and where they're at and turn it like, if we work on a song and you do this and you do this and blah, 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 you could get this thing going, and then tied to what I'm doing, blah, 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 it could be something. And people just don't follow through with it. They keep sending me ideas. What do you think about this idea? What do you think about this idea? It's like, I already told you, you have to like come out to the live stream and guest on this, or back before I started insisting on that. This has only been more of like in the last 6-7 months or year that I've said, I ain't doing it if it's not on the live stream. I ain't got time. If I'm not on the live stream, I'm not working on a video. I'm working on a session. I'm working on something else. But I'm still getting these texts from people. And the point is that people don't recognize an opportunity when it's right in front of them. They think that it's going to be obvious. Like somebody's going to go, hey, are you home? Okay, can you get in the limo? Ain't going to happen. The opportunities don't look like opportunities sometimes. There was also the missed opportunity. There was an artist I was working with. They were supposed to go to a photo shoot. They didn't, I don't know if they really realized what that photo shoot meant, like who the photographer was and who was going to be at the photo shoot. And it was, strangely enough, that they had an investor. The music was amazing, great songwriter and all that. I'd done this EP, one of the best things I've ever done in my life. But this person's ex, I don't want to say if it's a boyfriend or girlfriend, the person they were dating died from an overdose. And they were upset about it. But all I ever heard them do was bitch about this person. And then they're crying about it. They were so upset they didn't go to this photo shoot. They didn't think it was important. But it was literally, I know it sounds strange, but somehow that cause other things not to happen. That was the opportunity, because sometimes the linchpin all comes through a weird situation because of the people there, the timing. I was on the phone with this person. I was saying, you got to go to this photo shoot and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, but I'm stressed out and all that. And then they said this, and it really pissed me off. And they said, I said, you got to get up there and you got to do the work and it's hard every day. And they said, well, that's easier for you to say. You don't have a job. You don't have to work. And I reamed them the fuck out. I think it was the last time I ever talked to them. I was done with that project because it's like, yeah, I don't go and like work in a kitchen. I have. I'm not going and digging post holes. I have. But I work every day in the studio. I work my freaking ass off. People see how I live and they think I have this kind of crazy, great life. I do have a great, blessed life, but I work my freaking ass off. And I've been doing it for decades. I work so freaking hard. But because they were so kind of caught up in this emotional thing and then kind of took offense to what I said, whatever, they didn't show up. And there was another artist, and this was the one who almost broke me a few years ago, that had opportunities, people that wanted to give this person money and all that, but they spent so much time worrying about failing. This person would say, I'd talk about like, well, let's try this and let's try this. And they'd say, but I just want to make sure we're doing it the right way. Or I want to make sure that we're being smart. And I'd say, who cares about being smart? Let's just do something stupid. Nobody really knows, in these situations, always what the right situation, what the right choice is to do. Changes from artist to artist. But I'm not an expert on marketing, neither were they, but we had great music and we had the ability to make some stuff happen. And my attitude is like, well, we'll never really find out the right way or the smart thing to do until we go out and do it and see what works and doesn't work. And they would just spend all their time staring into their belly button, wondering about whether they're worthy or whether it's this. And, it's like me, I never really did that so much because I I know I'm an idiot. I know I'm clueless. I know I was actually called clueless by a very famous person who is actually a very famous YouTuber. And it really bothered me. And I realized, like, goddamn, I am clueless. But there's a gift to being clueless in a way, because it means you might go do stuff that nobody else would do in a normal situation, but you go do it anyway because you're clueless. And as long as you're paying attention, you can really turn that into something, which leads me to my next thing. This leads me to my next thing, which is, how did I do it? How did I get here? And that is a really hard thing to answer, because as I've gotten older and I've started the YouTube channel, making the videos, I look back at stuff and I'm telling the story and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? So I call people up and they're like, actually, it was like this. I'm like, really? Like that happened? And then I see pictures and I'm like, oh, and I realize what a fool I must have looked like. Because you got to understand, like, I'm a space cadet in many ways. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't always know what's going on around me. I don't do the research I should do. I should actually study the music business more. I mean, I know a lot now, but I would just go do stuff and whatever. And this actually kind of came up when I was talking to Carly Park and Derek the other day in the studio. We got into the past and like when I met him, because Little John introduced me to him, and working with him and all the crazy stuff that happened and all that. And I kind of know certain things that I did, but it's kind of hard to explain it. In some ways I can't tell you how I got here. I can tell you the things I did and I didn't do. But before I say that, I am a little wary of giving advice. That's the other thing. People ask me this all the time, and I can't. I only say general things because I don't want to tell anybody to specifically do one thing. Advice is weird. I actually made a video about that recently, and I think it's called Why I Stopped Doing This, or I Had to Stop Doing This, because there were times that I gave what I thought was good advice to somebody, and they either misunderstood it or there was something else to the equation I didn't know about or didn't understand that meant that, oh, that's not really advice that was good for them, or advice they would even understand or know what to do with. So I usually talk about more general things because advice is weird. I've gotten advice and it was like terrible, and it was from people who are experts, but in the context of what I'm doing, it didn't really matter. Now, before I talk about the stuff I did, I want to be fair about my situation was different than most people. I never had a regular job or income that I needed to replace to do music. I meet people that they went to college, and it's funny because I actually had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they're talking about a relative who's young. They want to get in the music business, and they're going to go to a music school, and they advised them not to go to Full Sail or something like that. I think that's a waste of freaking money. It'd be better to just take whatever money you're going to spend on that, give yourself save enough money or get the money somehow to rent an apartment or a place to live for a year without having to have a job. Buy yourself like a DAW or something like that and go work in studios. You'll learn way more that way, right? But what this person did say to them that I agreed with, and I said, you should call them back up, is they said, oh, don't go to college to learn about music production. Go to college to get a job so you can make some money, so then you can support yourself while you're trying to do music. And I'm like, no, that's a terrible idea. You don't go to college to get a job to support yourself to do music. You go to college to get a job that's a job. The kind of job you want to get to do music is the kind of shit I did. A craft job, manual labor. Like I said, building fences or replacing toilets, which isn't that much fun. But hey, I could do it and I could set my own hours. I worked at, fast food places. I did whatever. And then eventually I figured out I need to be self-employed. So I'd go around and I would make flyers. I'll clean your gutters for $150, which doesn't seem like much. But if you really think about it, if the house is not too big, people are willing to pay for you to clean. Nobody wants to get up on the house and clean gutters, but I had ladders or just whatever, I realize, actually I didn't realize, it just seemed instinctual to me. Like, I don't want to go to college and spend all this time waiting to start my life. I want to start now. It's partially impatience, but by having crap jobs, you can just quit them. oh, I got to go tour. Like there's an opportunity. I can't work. If you have a real job, you can't just suddenly go to that job that you got a college, degree for and say, I can't work next week. Whereas with the crap jobs, I could just quit and go get another crap job. You see what I'm saying? That was what I did. So that was easy, and I intentionally did that. But I never really thought about that till I had this one experience. So one of the things I did when I was young, and I was still living at my parents' house, I had a little studio in the basement, this is way back before the internet. This is like in the 80s, and I was so desperate to meet people. And there was a newspaper called the Creative Loafing, which is was the Atlanta like arts newspaper, like for anything arts, bands, whatever. And there was this classified section, and that's where you'd go to meet other musicians. And if you needed a drummer or you were a drummer looking for a band, you'd go there. So I spent a year, and I went to at least 1 or 2 auditions a week for a year. And I just did it because I wanted to meet people, because everybody I'd done music with in high school, they all went to college to get the job, right? And so I would go to these auditions, and I might find myself there was this one time I was in an apartment. There was this black dude, he played bass, and he didn't wear a strap. He's like, I don't need a strap. And he would hold his bass up with his pinky finger under the G string and slap. And it seemed crazy, but he was actually really good. He was like jumping around the room. I'm like, I don't get what's going on. And I couldn't really play the music, but it was cool. And then like next week, I'm sitting in a farmhouse south of Atlanta, out in the country, with these 2 older men with beards around a wood-burning stove in this country house playing country songs. And I don't know how to play country. I don't even know why I went. It just seemed interesting, Or I went and auditioned for the Daryl Rhodes band. Daryl Rhodes is a guy who does mostly comedy now, but he would like do these kind of crazy songs, and he always hired these great musicians. And I actually went and auditioned for them, knowing I was going to make I was going to make a fool out of myself, because I could barely figure out the songs on the tape, but I don't know why I went. I just went. And I was so bad. And I walked in there, and this is like a band with like horn sections. They had like horn section and drums. It was like freaking like a real arrangement. And these guys are all pros. And I walk in with an Ampeg V4 cabinet and head. And the only way I can get distortion out of it is to crank it up louder than half the band. They're like, hey, yo, son, turn the amp down. And I sucked. And it was so humiliating. I literally cried when I got in the van. But I did that shit all the time, because I just need to, I need to go do something. I was so desperate, and I went out there. There was this one band. Okay, I got 2 stories. I'm going to tell 2 stories here. All right? Okay. I call this band from Creative Loafing to go do an audition. I'm still living at my parents' house, and it's like, oh, the band lives like freaking 5, 6, 7 minutes away. So I go to the house, and they had this like set up in the basement with a really great PA system and lights, and everybody had gear, and they were really, really good. And I think I might have gotten a cassette. I don't know. I made up some stuff, and they're like, wow, this is really great. And they're like, man, we want to tour. We want to get a record deal. We're going to do this thing. And there was a girl singer and a guy singer, and, it was the whole thing. And they're young, and they're all good looking and all that kind of stuff. And I go back like a week later for a second audition, and I'm like, wow, this is really, really cool. And I'm like, man, look, they got everything they need. And these guys, I got a trailer out here. We can do this, whatever, man. And I'm like, oh, they invested. They're serious, right? So after that second audition, we're sitting around. I'm like, hey, you guys gonna we're gonna tour, right? Because I wanted to tour. I love to gig, And they're like, yeah, we'll tour if somebody pays us. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, we want to get a record deal. And if they pay us as much money as I'm making as my job right now, I'll go tour. But they're going to have to pay me what I'm making right now to go tour. I never went back. It's like nobody's going to do that. There ain't nobody hiring for this shit. It's like you have to like take the risk and go out there. So these are people that actually had good jobs, which is why they had all that freaking gear. They're thinking that getting into the music business is going to be this thing like going and applying for a job, right? Like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we're going to move from this company to this company. We'll negotiate your income. We'll offer health care, and you get so many days a week off, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I need, blah, 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 blah. How about blah, blah, blah? Oh, they negotiate. It don't work that way. Even with a record deal, even in rare cases, you might have a bidding war, you might, which rarely happens anymore. But even back in the day, it was like, they're going to give you some money as an advance, and it's kind of a rip-off deal in the long run, but you better take that money. That's what you're going to survive on, and lucky you might get some tour support and all that. And it just kind of hit me like, oh, my God, it's like these guys are living in a fantasy world. Like, oh, if they pay me. Anyway, ain't nobody hiring for this. And the other story is, and this kind of ties back to the whole like missed opportunities or whatever. Actually, it's just a funny story, so I'm just going to tell it. There's this other guy that I contacted in the creative loafing, and he was a bass player, and I was looking for a bass player. And I said, we had this great conversation on the phone, and I'm just thinking like, oh my God, we agree on everything. Like, this is my musical blood brother, my musical lifetime partner, just based on what we were talking about. Just like great conversation. It's like, man, well, you should come out and play with the band, like come into a rehearsal. And they're like, oh, cool. Where do you live? I'm like, I live in Norcross. And then there was this silence on the phone. And the other person's like, that's a long way. I'm like, oh, God, where do you live? I'm thinking like, oh, shit, they live like in Macon or something crazy. I thought they lived in Atlanta. He says, oh, I live in Midtown Atlanta. I'm like, oh, that's not far. Because at that time, it's back in the 80s, traffic wasn't that bad in Atlanta. It was maybe 20 minutes after rush hour, maybe 20, 25 minutes or something to get where I was. I was actually South Norcross. I was like, it's not that far. He said, oh, you don't understand. I live in an apartment building. I'm like, okay. He says, yeah. Every time I go somewhere with my bass, it's 3 trips to the car. First one to carry my bass. Then I got to go back upstairs. I have to get the amp head. Put it in the car. Then I have to go get the cabinet. Put it in the car. Go somewhere. And then when I come home, it's 3 trips when I get back. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah. That's a lot. I say, okay, well, I'll call you back. And I never did. But as I started thinking about it, I thought, man, it's not just about being in Norcross. This guy can't even get in a band with anybody because he's living in this apartment building. I was imagining another phone call that he might have where he has a conversation with somebody and they're like, oh, let's get together. And he's like, oh, where do you live? And he's like, oh, I'm in Midtown. He's like, oh, so am I. What apartment building do you live in? The other person says, oh, I'm in this building. He's like, so am I. What floor are you on? The guy says, oh, I'm on the 2nd floor. And he's like, I'm on the 3rd floor. Sorry, I can't do it. I mean, it's as silly as that, right? It's just funny how people will undercut themselves and ruin it. That actually has nothing to do exactly with what I'm talking about here. It's just a funny story I like to tell. But I want to talk about the thing here, the point of all this. When people ask me, how did you do it? I think the number one thing, or they're kind of, I'm trying to figure out how to say this exactly, but it's that I didn't have a fear of failure. I think people are really afraid of failure. And maybe I haven't been afraid of it because I've failed so much in my life. Like I said, I was a space cadet, like I would be in elementary school or middle school and we'd have to go play kickball and I'd be standing out in the field. They always put me away from the important action because I sucked at it. And the game started, and I'm looking at these trees during the game, and there's these clouds and these birds, and I hear the sound of people yelling and yelling. I'm like, huh? It's like, what the fuck are they yelling at? God, I'm looking at, and I turn out, I realize they're all yelling at me. Somebody kicked the ball, and it's rolling past me, and I wasn't paying fucking attention. And people would get so mad. It's like, I failed at sports. I failed at school because I'd be spacing out. I failed at everything. So what the fuck? I'm going to fail anyway. Cool. It never really bothered me. And the thing, I think people are also worried about like making a fool of themselves or getting humiliated, which I have no problem with because I like to do funny stuff, so I can act up and all that. But it's also like I don't think that for a lot of my life I was aware that I was making a fool out of myself or humiliating myself because I'm not paying attention to what's around me. It's a blessing. So I would do stupid things like just whatever to get involved in something. I wrote down a list of them here. I joined an improv group. I was still living at my parents' house. And so it was like these people want to get into acting, and it was like, oh, improv group. And it was actually this man and this woman started this thing, and it was actually in the clubhouse of an apartment building down, like, I think it was like in Buckhead or something like that. And you would pay this fee and you'd go in, they'd talk about acting, and then they'd come up with these scenarios, and then you'd get up in front of their little stage and you would improv, which I sucked at because somebody's talking to me and I'm supposed to improv off them, and I'm just like trying to focus and I'm listening to them, but then I'm thinking about other stuff like, starting a fire with flint and steel or something like that. Like, well, what kind of shavings would you use? Oh no, I got to be focusing on what's going on. I was terrible at it, but I did it anyway, and I kept going. Everybody liked me. I think they thought I was funny. I know I sucked up there. I didn't really realize how bad I was, right? I also played in a lot of cover bands, and some of these were I just wanted to get the hell out of the house. And I look back at the pictures, I was in these cover bands, and we had these terrible, we would wear uniforms. We all had like these weird gray suits, like I don't even know how to describe them. Those at the 80s, so they were made out of polyester or something. And then we would do we did some cool songs. We did anything on the top 40. We were playing like Holiday Inn lounges or like these little dives and shit. I went and did that with a bunch of cover bands. Just like I just have to go. I don't know what to do. There was no YouTube. Like, I don't know how to get. I didn't know anybody who had had success in music. I didn't even, at that point, except for a couple cover musicians, I didn't know nobody even made money at music for a living. So I would go and I'd join these crappy cover bands, and yeah, I'll get in the van and drive you there. And then you get out there and you're like, oh, we're in Arkansas, and the club we're playing at is down a dirt road. And literally the stage has chicken wire in front of it, or then we got to drive all the way to West Virginia, and we're playing at a Holiday Inn lounge. And on the way there, the agent calls up and says, oh yeah, tonight you're going to drive 10 hours, and then you got to set up and get on stage, and there's a two-stepping contest, which I know what that is, but nobody else in the band knew what it was. So I was like, I know Rocky Top, and I know a song by the band Alabama. So I taught the band the songs, like, okay, so here, and we just played them over and over again all night, shit like that, I also spent time playing in multiple bands. I had my own band. My ex-wife had a band. At one point, I was in 5 different bands for free. They were all original bands. So I was, in addition to everything else I was doing, I was going and playing in little clubs around Atlanta and the region for free, just because they're original bands and we weren't making money. But I was like, I was playing bass in a heavy metal band called Black House. Kind of heavy metal. I wouldn't say heavy metal. I guess it's grunge, heavy grunge. I was playing bass and mandolin in a group called Lenny occasionally. I was playing in, I can't remember now. I was just in a bunch of freaking bands. I did that for free, time after time after time after time, to build up the experience and to meet people. I recorded for free. I had my home studio, and I was charging like 10 or 15 bucks an hour or something like that. But there was a lot of shit I just did for free because some of the paying clients weren't that good. And I was like, I want to work with really good people. I want to have the opportunity to work with something that's going to get good, that they're at least going to be serious enough to like press up cassettes, because this was before CDs. And so I would do that. I also, I want to say, doing all that stuff for years and all those auditions without me realizing it led to the point where now people call me a legend, which is freaking funny to me, because I think being a legend is just like doing it for long enough that you're still around decades later, and then everybody knows your names. Because I've run into people like, oh, you auditioned for my band down in this rehearsal room, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, that's what turned into the Jungle Room recording studio. And like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, you came out to that audition. You were, yeah. It's like, I remember you. All that led to work and a weird foundation. I built up a foundation of work and experiences and all that, that when people were hiring me, they weren't just necessarily hiring me for, oh, he knows how to push some buttons and all that. It's my experience, but the foundation of what I've done with all this stuff. I also did crazy things like working on rap music, and I've talked about this in other videos. Like me, I was playing mandolin. When I started doing rap music, I was like, had beads in my hair and playing mandolin and singing these songs about spirits and angels and goofy stuff like that. And for a lot of reasons, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why I did it. It seems kind of crazy. And this is what I was talking to Carly Park about the other day when I started doing the Yin Yang Twins. I didn't even know what anybody was saying. I know they all thought I was like the goofy white guy because I would say something, they'd talk in their, SWAT's language, Southwest Atlanta. And I'd be like, I'd look at Carly Park. What did they say? And he's like, don't worry about it. And everybody would be laughing at me. Of course, later on, I found out that D-Rock and Kane can speak perfect English, and they were just fucking with me. But there were so many situations that I had no idea what was going on. I didn't understand the music. I had to learn. But everybody dug it because I treated everybody fairly. But it was the same thing going into bluegrass. How I even got into bluegrass and working with the String Dusters, which we won a Grammy for one of the albums I did with them. And it was just one of the, I didn't know. It's like, oh yeah, it's acoustic instruments, And then you get into it and go, oh, it's this whole other thing. And then after I said I'd do the gig, I found out that their previous album had been done by Gary Pachoza, who is literally a legend in Nashville and known for like inventing and developing miking techniques that everybody uses. I'm taking his place and I've never done anything like this. I was like, what am I doing? I almost had a freaking panic attack, but I just said, sure. And I jumped into it. Another crazy thing I did, and it seems like a smart thing to do, but later on I realized it was dumb. I actually got on and I had to go through I had a manager at the time. They taught me into doing this. I sat on the Recording Academy board. So the Recording Academy, these are the people that do the Grammys, and they have chapters all over the country. So I was in the Southeast, and I got on this board, and once a month you go and you have these important meetings. And I think that's the first time I really realized that, because I've never had a job, and I worked at CNN for a little while, which is another story. I just did it for a short amount of time. But meetings, like people having meetings, and I'm sitting there and it's funny because I'm looking at L Rock, who was on the board at the same time, and he's a famous musician and producer and songwriter. And he's like me. We're looking at each other. Why are we here again? And it probably actually did some damage to my career because all these people who had heard about me but never seen me because I'm in the studio, and they're like, this guy's an idiot. But I did learn a lot. And I learned one thing is I don't want to be involved with the Recording Academy. Got my own thing with that. Or like, and I'm going to move on here, but I got one last little story, like stupid things I did. This may not seem stupid, but it's kind of like, so I worked on the song called Party Like a Rock Star. I played guitar on it and I mixed it, and I got a cut of the publishing on that, a small point, but I made a lot of money off that. That song actually won 2 or 3 ASCAP awards. I actually have the plaques out in the other room. I can't, it was like best rap song or whatever, right? And it was held in LA at one of the theaters that they've done the Grammys at. It's like, I forget the name of it. It's this big theater they do award shows at. And it was live, I believe, on a cable channel or something like that. And I go out there, and I'm just assuming everybody else is going to be there. Like Pittman's going to be there, and the group's going to be there, and all that. And so I figured like they'll call our names and they'll go walk on stage. Maybe I'd go up there too. I don't know. But me being me, I actually, I went out to LA and I don't have any dress clothes, and I don't even think about dressing. So I'm sitting in the audience, and I was actually sitting with this person who had traveled out there with me, and he looks over and says, don't you have a better shirt? And I look down, and my shirt was like all wrinkly, like it just come out of the dryer, not ironed, and it just would look terrible. I'm like, oh God. And then I'm like, well, it's all right. When we all walk on stage, I'll be the white guy standing in the back. I mean, there are other white people involved, but I'm definitely the white guy, right? Everybody else looks cool. I don't look cool. So they announced this award, and they're like, Party Like a Rock Star, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, come on. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm jogging up there, right? And I'm getting up there, and as I'm getting towards the stage, I realize like, there's nobody up there. And I'm looking like, nobody else is coming up here, and I'm slowing down towards the stairs, but everybody's looking at me like, and there's, the whole audience is like this. So I walk out on the stage. I'm the only one out there for Party Like a Rock Star. Nobody else had showed up. Talk about missed opportunities, because those people were freaking idiots. So I walk out there, and it's like, whole place goes like from to dead silence. And it's like very awkward, and the guy's like, here, and they hand me the plaque, and I go, thank you. And there's like, you hear some people, people laughing, and like, yeah, and very awkward. And I walk off the stage, And I sit down in my chair and I'm getting a text from Reed Hunter, who's a music attorney. And he says, that was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. But I'm willing to do stuff like that just to kind of be crazy about it. And, but the point is, like, I did things without worrying about whether it was the smart or the right thing to do. After I did it, if it was stupid or the wrong thing, I quit doing it. But how else am I going to learn? And I never really worried about that. It's kind of like, it's like this thing that my wife and I like to do. We'll go on a trip. We used to do a lot more way to motorcycle, but we still do it in the car. And that is, we'll have a tag up. Like, oh, we want to go to this town and go to a bookstore, whatever. As long as we go up, cross the Virginia state line and get a cup of coffee, that's our tag up. But anything else that happens is cool. Like, we're just going to go see what happens. And sometimes it turns into some really cool stuff. On the other hand, sometimes it's just a drag. Or like shopping, going to thrift stores. We love going to thrift stores. And sometimes you invest a whole day and you go to all these thrift stores and then it's nothing. You did nothing good happens. But then you go to a thrift store and you walk in and you get something like this. A 60s era Sears and Roebuck guitar for $169, which is a great deal. And I've been looking for one of these for years, but it took going to a lot of thrift stores to have that happen. Well, everything in life's kind of like that. You got to go take a lot of chances. You don't really know what's going to happen. And I just feel like that's how you create luck. That's how I did it. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I did it. I got to be good, and I work a lot on what I do. But I know people that are way better mixers and engineers than me. I know a lot of people that are better at everything that I do, by far. But a lot of those people aren't willing to risk failing. Most of what I've done in my life has failed. And let me repeat that. Most of what I've done in my life has failed. I've gotten really good at it. I'm a great failure. But if you do enough of it, something works. And when something fails, I used to throw things, which is why there's a crack on the neck of my pink Telecaster over there, because I threw it. But I don't do that so much anymore. I just go, and I just move on to the next thing. Because my attitude is that when you fail, that means that you're just closer to a success. Let's say you got to go out and you got to fail 9 times to have one success. Well, each failure gets you closer to number 10. That's how I look at it. And failures teach you a lot of stuff. It's amazing, the stuff that I've learned from failures. And I used to get really depressed. Actually, I still do. I get really depressed. Okay, I still do get real depressed over my lack of progress, lack of attention, lack of money, lack of artistic output, and my frequent trail wanderings where I get off fucking track, or like I'm working on a video. This happens all the time. I'm deep in a video or a project. I'm producing somebody, and I have all these other strategies and plans for the YouTube channel and all that. And then I come out and I'm like, what was I doing? Oh, I got a YouTube channel. And because I get so into it, and I gotta get my head back into it. So that means I got to come down here. And I was actually doing this. I was doing this yesterday. I'm down here. I'm not getting shit done. I'm just sitting here, and I'm like trying to mix a song, and I keep wandering outside and messing with the vines and shit, which is why I got a scratch on my arm. But I keep coming back in. Let me just hit it again. Let me hit it again. And actually, I went through a really bad time with this. Actually working on the album I won a Grammy for. When I was mixing, that was an incredibly hard point in my life. I can't even describe it. And it would take me way longer to mix a song than it normally would, because I was just having a hard time focusing and getting depressed. But you know what? I realized, like, I'm just going to do it anyway. What else am I going to do? Go watch fucking TV? And that's the thing. Like, you fail and you get depressed, but you got to keep coming back at it. You can't let the failures hold you back. Life is mostly failures in many cases. And what I do is I get down here, and some days I'm kicking ass, but there's a lot of days I'm down here and I'm like, I'm just not getting much done, you know? I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels, but actually I'm not, because even if there's a lot of spinning wheels and I end up grabbing the phone and doom scrolling, which is why I started putting the phone out of the room. But either way, I get something done, even if it's slow, even if I'm not inspired, even if I'm not feeling it, I do it anyway. Because what the hell else am I going to do? And ultimately, it gets me down the track. So I realize it's because I have, it's not what everybody thinks. I put my belief, my faith, and my energy is in the value of the energy of doing good work and the value and the energy of taking chances. And the other thing is I gave up hope a long time ago, because for me, hope is like a beggar. Hope to me is just like wishful thinking and just being a beggar. I gave up on hope a long time ago. I go into so many situations not being hopeful and not being like negative about it, just going like, it could totally fail. It could be great. I'm going to do it anyway. Why to get worked up? Why be hopeful about it? God, getting hopeful about shit and then you just get let down. I do it and then I freaking move on. And some things work and some things don't. But the bottom line is this, folks. And with all the things that people ask me, how do you do this? Or should I do this? And blah, 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 blah. All that stuff, every freaking thing, it just comes down to one thing. And this is the thing that I finally synthesized for me. And it's a weird way to think about it. And that is, it's all about dying. It's all about when you die, or like the moment before you die. If I think about it this way. When you're laying on your deathbed and you're about to die and you're laying there, are you going to have any regrets? Are you going to regret that you put your focus on making and money? Are you going to have any regrets that you put your focus on making money and having security instead of doing the things that you loved? Will you know that you did what you love? Did you do the things that you wanted to in life? Because let me tell you, at the moment that you're about to die, or even just when you get older, not that I'm about to die, hopefully, knock on wood, but you start thinking about all the things that you thought were important, the people that you thought, these people here, there, they care, they're this and this opportunity, I made a fool of myself. None of it matters, definitely before you die. And a lot of it doesn't matter when you get older. There's so many things that I kind of worried about, like, now it's like, where are they now? Half these people aren't even in the music business anymore, or they fucking whatever, they're fucking assholes. It doesn't matter. To me, the only thing is, did I do what I wanted to in life? Did I live my life the way that I wanted to? As best as I could. I know there's a lot. I'm very fortunate because of the way I was raised and situations, and I set myself up early without realizing it. I guess I stumbled into doing the right things. So it's not the same for everybody. Not everybody's in the same situation than me. I've been very lucky, and I've got my wife, Kit, who helps make all this possible. But still, even then, I would still do every damn thing I could possibly do to live my life the way I wanted to. And to me, that's all that it fucking matters. Like, that's it. Like, all that other stuff. Should I do it? Should I do it? So, what do you want to do? That's it. Will you feel good about it on your deathbed? Will you feel like, okay, I tried my best and I did everything I could. And that's it. And that is the end of my rant. So, thanks for listening to that. Oh, I went for an hour. I went over an hour on that. I was worried I was going to get through the whole thing in 20 minutes. Okay, now, if there's any comments anybody has or anything they want to add to it, let me know. I hadn't been looking at the comments because I've been trying to focus. And let me see if, I'm going to go grab my phone now, see if Harry texted me any questions. And I know I've talked about this on videos in the past and all this, so I hope I wasn't being repetitive, but by God, it's just come up a lot lately, and I just felt like I wanted to say something. Okay, no questions from Harry so far. So, let's see, what does everybody have to say? Oh, Harry, it's your birthday? Happy birthday. Yeah, it is a cool guitar, the Sears and Roebuck guitar. I can't believe I found that. Okay, hold on. Here's a text. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Nikki has texted me 10 times. Nikki, please stop. Oh, my God. Do not text me. I'm working. Oh, my God. How did you get this number? Okay. Let me see. Let me look at the comments here. Oh, hold on. Switch mice here. Oh, God. Where am I? George says my my website is outdated, nearly 100,000 subscribers. Yeah, that I've got somebody helping me with that for free, and they actually do it professionally, but they're doing it because they wanted somebody. And it's actually mostly me. I need to get back to them and say, hey, can we update this? Oh, that's actually, hold on. I wonder if there's a way that they can do an automatic, hold on. An automatic YouTube counter, sub counter. Because it's like, they've been really helpful, and I need to give them some money, actually, just because they've helped me out. But I'm just trying to keep up with everything. Thanks for letting me know that. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Just Mellow. I appreciate it. Dude, I don't know how Nikki got my number. That's the thing about Nikki that gets me. Nikki's got some impairments, but by God, they can figure out some shit. I don't know. Jeez. Yeah. Nikki makes fake accounts and gets on here and asks questions, but after a while, like, I think that's Nikki again, which is kind of sad because Nikki's probably my #1 fan, but oh my God. Dude. Okay. No, not Nikki 6. Okay. A two-headed monster, yes. PowerPoint slides would be a nice addition next time. The problem is just the time setting it up. I was actually scrambling to get ready, just even to write down some notes here because of the mixing. And, boy, I was struggling on this one mix for this one client. I think I might have put too much. I think it sounds good with a lot of reverb. I know they're going to hit me back and say, put the reverb. So I was like, going back and forth. Then I thought I was done. I listened back to my bounce down. I was like, I need more high end on the vocals, whatever. That's what I was up till 3 a.m. doing last night. Yeah, thanks, Jay-Z bass player. I'm glad you liked the video. I was listening to a lot of Miles Davis years ago. I had this cool mixtape, and now I lost it, and I can't even remember what albums it was from. And it's like, it's somewhere, man. Okay, so Isaac asked on YouTube, I have a question. How do you create a safe space when working with others and not in your home studio where there's more control? I don't know. I've always worked in my home studios. I mean, for the most part. I think that there's probably, depending on the town you're in, there's probably places where you can rent spaces. Now when you say safe, do you mean artistically safe or you mean safe like I need a gun? Because I've always, actually, somebody hit me up like, do you keep a gun in the studio? Like, always have, because I had somebody try to rob me and I actually had to pull it out one time. But I'm thinking like, if you're like, I think there's probably places where you can probably go rent a room. Like actually a buddy of mine in LA, he's got a studio. What the hell is the name of it? Hold on. Actually, I can give him a little plug here. It's probably a little pricey, but hold on. He's got a studio. It's actually connected to a hotel, and they have rooms that are designed for people to rent out, like by the day or by the hour, because they don't have home studios. Hold on. Okay, it's a place called Gold Diggers in LA. And the website is gold-diggers.com. And like they've got, I think they have a Neve console or whatever. They got it all. Maybe they have an SSL, but they have all these smaller rooms that are production studios, and you can find those in a lot of towns that'll rent it either with or without an engineer or whatever. That's probably what I would do. because then you're going to have like, there's going to be somebody like, there's going to be some sort of receptionist and some sort of, it's probably going to be safer. That's the only thing I could suggest. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh, I'm reading backwards here. Okay. Hold on. What do you know about human design from producer Stefan? Human design. Hold on. I'm going to look this up real quick. Hold on. Let me switch. I got too many mice here. Hold on. Let's do this. Or trackballs. Human design. I mean, I guess. I mean, I think that could mean a lot of things. Oh. Your human design chart. What kind of human am I? Oh, boy. Okay, I'll look at that later. That might... I may not want to find out what kind of human I am. They're like, oh, you're a space cadet. Hold on, I'm going back. Oh, I meant creatively open, like Rick Rubin talks about. Actually produce, not music. I mean, the space is irrelevant to a certain degree. I mean, as long as, it's not got like a train running overhead and shit like that. I think it's just more about the vibe. When I'm working with people, I used to be a big dictator, but I found out and I still push my ideas out there, but I always say to people I want to try this. It might be a stupid idea. And I'm also willing to back off of it. I think the whole thing is when you're working with people to let people know it's all right to make stupid suggestions or make mistakes. And actually with certain people, I think there have been times where I intentionally make a stupid suggestion and then rescind it and pull it back later just so they can see that it's all right. I'll be like, God, that was a dumb idea. And then they go, oh, it's all right. You can laugh about it, I like to kind of create a situation like that. And then also just kind of I'm very focused and I like to get a lot of work done and all that. But also it's all right to kind of cut up and have some fun, Let's see. Oh, no, don't Phil Spector, Wall of Murder save. No, God, that's terrible. I'm still tripping about Phil Spector and all. It's still... let's see. I'm reading everything backwards. Come on, hold on. Let me go back a little bit. And God, I wish Kit were here because Kit normally keeps track of this stuff and keeps it all linear, but she's doing the voting thing today. Hold on. Thanks, Luminous. Thanks that you like to... Oh, yeah, here's the studio. I've been sitting here talking with this one view here. I was hoping to get Tap down here to talk. I was going to have him sitting next to me, but they work today. I don't think they feel like work. But yeah, this is the control room right here. And I've got another room behind me back there that is I can do drums. It's a small room for drums. And then the vocal booth is over there. But there's a door over there. And then there's an amp room on the other side of that. And then upstairs, I've got a big living room with a huge ceiling that's kind of connected. My kitchen is connected to it. And I've got 16 mic lines run up there so I can do drums up there if I want a really big sound. I've heard of $1 million record advances. A long time ago. I don't think that shit happens anymore. Well, you get paid overtime, Chronic Dream Music. Oh, and by the way, I saw that you tipped me a couple times. Thanks so much, Chronic Dream. And by the way, I liked the picture. I don't know if you saw my comment. You said you weren't good at pictures. I thought that picture was pretty damn cool. Just saying, okay? No, you will not get paid overtime. Although, I've had some clients... Actually, somebody paid me. Oh, yeah, I had a band in here because I had 2 bands over the last couple of weeks and I couldn't live stream them. One of the bands just paid an extra $100 and didn't even say anything about it. And I didn't find out till later. Chris was like, is it a mistake? I think they're just tipping me. And we didn't even go overtime. The funny thing is I had to talk them into doing extra stuff. They're all worried about taking too much. So I was like, no, you paid for the day. I mean, they did get up against the day limit, but at a certain point, it's like, well, okay, you went to the day limit. I'm here anyway. What else am I going to do? Go play tiddlywinks? We can work another hour or two. It's cool if I like them, Anyway, I did get overtime on that one. Which is actually rare. I have no vision insurance. Warheart, that's the other thing. It's like I'm self-employed, so I have to Kit handles this where she has to get for this insurance, which I have no dental insurance and I have no vision insurance. So when I go to the dentist, which I went to recently because I had a freaking, whatever, stupid amount of money, and they'll cut me a break on it, but it's a whole other freaking thing. No, I have no vision insurance. I pay for that shit with cash, which is why my glasses are outdated. But we're going to Costco, I think, tomorrow because they have a deal there, and they actually have glasses I like. So, and we got the new prescription, so I'm going to get some new glasses. Let's see. Okay, DG Soundmaster, I'm glad you learned a lot from Full Sail University. I had a friend who went, actually somebody who worked for me, and they paid a shitload of money, and they did learn a lot, but I still had to teach them a lot. Maybe it was just them. I feel like, nothing against what you did, I feel like they overcharged for that shit. Although Full Sail is a little bit different. There's a couple schools here in Atlanta, and I was kind of like, I actually went and spoke at them a couple times, and I was like, I quit because I didn't feel good about they weren't doing anything bad. I just didn't feel like because I met their teachers, and and then I was like, oh, you used to work at this studio, and I'm like, Anyway, just saying. Let's see. Okay, somebody said, Marauder Music, and I think they left the stream. You're getting older when you realize that thinking you have the right answer is a dangerous place to be. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Hold on, let me scroll down here to see if there was any other questions. Two-Headed Monster says, I think Billy might be my long-lost illegitimate dad. Unless you're from South Georgia. Just saying. That's all I'm going to say. Unless you're from South Georgia, you couldn't be because I don't think I have any illegitimate kids. If there is one, they're in South Georgia. That's all I'm saying. I don't think there is one. Oh, thank God. Because I would not shun that responsibility, but the idea of being connected to that woman, no, that's all I'm saying. 231 Recording Studio. I record, mix, and master for free. And that's how I got my start. I'm not suggesting everybody do it, but if you want to learn, that's one of the best things to do. And there is extra stuff I do for paying clients that is not part of the original deal. I mean, there is still stuff I quote unquote do for free, but I just want to help the project along. But I did that for years just to learn the shit I did for no money. I just wanted to be involved and I wanted to go places and make things happen. So that's what I did. And I still think that that's a way to get ahead. And the hard part is transitioning from the free to the paying stuff. Unfortunately, the people who are getting it for free rarely become the paying clients because they've got it that way. So kind of keep that in mind. A couple of them did, but most of them were like, once I was like, I'm not doing it for free anymore, they quit coming around. It was like, oh, but I get it. That's what they know you for, and they don't value you because if you're doing it for free, even though it's a great way to learn, a lot of people aren't going to value you because you're not charging. You could be doing the best work in the world because they're not paying for it. They don't think it's as good. But whatever, man. If it gets you ahead, that's what you do. Let's see. Spy Guy says, in 40 years of music, I may have missed 1 or 2 weekends. Always played every week, up to 5 nights a week. I did that too. Not as long as you did. For a while when I was in cover bands, I was touring in bands and we were playing 5, sometimes 6 nights a week, multiple sets a night. And oh my God. I mean, it wasn't that bad because the rest of the day because we were traveling around, I just lay around a hotel. Or I would exercise. I actually was into exercising back then. I was lifting weights and jogging and all that. But, it's not bad hours, if you're just going to do, 3 sets a night. I think sometimes there were a couple places we did 4 sets a night. Not bad considering you're not doing anything else all day. So, but yeah, doing it a lot is important. And I'm glad that you said you always got paid for 40 years. That's awesome. And that kind of comes back to something else, talking about making it. People talk about making it. What does making it mean? And I did a session. This was years and years and years ago. It was a mixing session, and the guy that came over, his name is Michael Jackson, not the singer. He's with a big publishing company. God, I forget what it was, but they're like a producer, and then like they're working at a publishing company, and it was something they were connected with CeeLo. Anyway, I can't remember all the details, but a fucking legend in the music business. And they came to my home studio one time to go over some mixes. And they actually had a very interesting way of listening to the mixes, which was kind of interesting. And we're tweaking it out. We ended up talking for a long time. And this was during a period in my career where I'd had hit records because, goes up and down, up and down. So this is during a period of time I hadn't had a hit in a while, and work was a little low. And they were talking to me, and I don't know how we got into it. And they said, wow, you're doing it. You're so successful. You've really made it. And I was like, I'm not doing it. And he's like, no. He said, the fact that you're still doing it is what matters. You're still doing it. And I thought about that because I know people that have had bigger success than me and done a lot of stuff, and they're not doing it anymore. And for a lot of reasons. I mean, there's some good reasons for some of them, but some people just kind of like, for whatever reasons, got out. And to me, it's like the fact that I'm still able to do it is kind of the thing that really matters. And let's see. I just want to throw that in there. Cornroll Billy? The hell? I have no idea what that means. ASCAP breakdown? Okay, ASCAP. Are you asking what ASCAP is? Not sure. You know what? So Jimmy says, everyone else was partying like a rock star, so the producer had to go get the award. You have no idea. That's pretty much what it was. I actually made a video about this. And actually, let me see if I can pull it up. I think it's actually one of my better videos. And it's God. It's just one of those things where these people, I don't think they expected to have a big hit like that. And so they, okay, hold on. How do I get to why can't I get to my channel? Hold on. They, that's pretty much that's what, hold on. Let me put a link up to this freaking video. How do I find it? Oh God, what is it? I can't remember what the damn video is called. Hold on. Oh, did I spell that right? Harry, can you put the link up? Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. I got it right here. So go check this video out. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. Okay, go check this video out. I'm pasting it in there right now. If you want to know about the things that happened, there's some things I can't get it into Twitch. I'm not logged in on here for some freaking reason. But go check that video out. I just pasted it into the chat. Hold on. I'm going to go over to Twitch. Yeah, that's a good point. Scene, I think that's how I'm supposed to say it. I say it wrong every freaking week. That, you were not making money on music, but you got into doing other things, mixing, mastering a video, editing, and photography, and that the other artistic work pays you to do your own music, which is actually kind of how I got in. It's actually how I got into production and mixing. I wasn't really trying to become a professional mixer and master. I just want to make enough money to do my own music, and then that took over. So I'm finally getting back to my own music. But hey, better than having a freaking job. Oh, thanks, Harry. Let's see. Try and error is the best. We learn from failures. Absolutely. Let's see. There's things in the chat here that I don't quite understand because there's a conversation going on and I don't always get what's going on. Plus, I don't often get what's going on. Okay. The guitar name is Chuck. Oh, the guitar name is Chuck. You're talking about the pink paisley that I threw across the room and it crashed into a wall because somebody jumped out of the way. Yeah, Chuck. Actually, it stays in tune really good. There's a crack straight down the middle of that damn thing on the back. And it's just a Japanese version. It's not like a... it sounds pretty cool, but yeah, it stays in tune amazingly. Somebody, Randy says, somebody who never does anything never learns to fail. Exactly. And then Michael Hennessy says, the only real failure is giving up. Otherwise, it's just a setback. Good damn point. And that's the other thing, too. Like, I feel like the reason most people fail in music or any kind of endeavor is that they quit doing it. I really believe that. Except for the people who, there are people who try and they just absolutely suck. They never learn to get good at it. Although I've seen some people who aren't really good at it actually make a living at it just because people like them. That's another thing. Even if you're not the best, if people like working with you, they will work with you even if you're not the best. But most people fail because they quit and they stop. And like I said, I guess I was just too stupid to stop. I didn't know what else was I going to do. Go back to making hush puppies. I mean, there's other things I could do. I had a home remodeling business, and I call it home remodeling. Really, I was just a handyman. Although I would build things like cabinets and shit like that. And I enjoyed that because it was creative. Because I got to make things. But damn, I forgot the other thing I was going to say. Bloody yard work, yeah. Yuri says, I don't know why you chose today to do this live on these subjects, but your timing is perfect. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad this resonates with y'all. And I'm glad I streamed today. I wasn't going to stream today, but because of that email from one of the people on the stream here, I think they're still here, I ended up streaming today because we had this intense email exchange, which was really awesome. Kept me up late, but it was cool. Got me thinking about some stuff. Let's see. Oh, that's a good point. So I think that says valid, says you can lose your money, but you can't lose moments when you do what you love. And actually, that's that's actually a whole other video and a whole other subject I want to talk about, but I'll mention it briefly here. And that is, you can lose money, you can lose possessions, and you can get them back, but you can never get the time back. And that's what I get most mad about, is having my time wasted, you know? Like if I get into a project and I might lose some money on it, but if it's a good experience and I learn, that's cool. But if it's a waste of freaking time or somebody wasted my time, I get very angry about it. But it's also about the good things that happen, like the things that you remember, that you cherish. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, mainly because of my kids and my wife. And my wife is just incredible, who is normally here on my live streams with me, but she's working the polls today. But it's been something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I'm really, really determined to make this YouTube channel a success. I can't make the videos as quickly as I need to. There's a lot of stuff I can't do. And for the first couple years or so of the YouTube channel, it's all I did every day. But everything in my life was just kind of a mess. A lot of it my property, because I'm on 5 acres out here. And I had a forest grow up around my house that trees will grow fast. Oh, my God. It was like, but I live in this beautiful property. And it's like, you know what? I want it to look at. I'm not trying to like do this totally manicured thing, but I want to have these pathways around the property. So I'll just put some time into that because I love being outside and I like walking barefooted outside. I think it's really a healthy thing to do. But I also want to spend time with my wife. And so I've decided the channel is going to grow a little slower because I want to have these experiences. When my music career was taking off, which literally happened, like it was starting to take off, but it really took off the day I got back from my honeymoon. And it was great, but there was a lot of stuff that I missed. And I'm not going to do that again. I do work hard, and I will stay up late. And I was trying to go... I want to spend some time with my wife last night, but I need to get this mix done. And then when I got that email, I was like, I got a live stream, so I had to make a thumbnail. But it's all right, man. I don't want anybody feeling bad about that. But it's what you do. But I'm going camping with a family soon, and we're gonna do all that stuff. But yeah, you can't. Those moments, you can't. Those are precious. That's all you really got. You know, like the things that you go through. Like all the other stuff's just, you know, whatever. Um. Oh yeah, human design. Okay. Okay, we're back to the website. So I'm scrolling down the comments here. Okay. See if there's any other questions. Yeah, Yuri says, your advice and wisdom is really helpful. If I find a way to make it from Colorado to Georgia, let's do that live. I'm glad that it's really helpful. And you know, the other thing too, when I got this email that caused me to do this live stream today, I remembered, because like I said, I don't have this perspective over, I know I'm doing good in mixing and production and all that, but I'm not always aware about the impact I have on other people. But what's happened multiple times is I work with a band or an artist, and then years later we run in and they said, oh, you said blah, 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 and it changed my life. And I'm like, oh, I said that? God, it was actually Kane from Yin Yang Twins, and I think I have it on some footage somewhere because we're doing these interviews recently, and he said something that he claims I said, and I'm like, I can't believe I said that because that sounds way too fucking intelligent. But I must have said it because Kane remembers this shit. And I go, wow, that's really cool because I never had anybody like that in my life. My parents were supportive, and I did get a lot of lessons from them, but they weren't like musicians and all that. My dad sang, and my mom had played violin in high school, or I think it was high school, but it's not like they were like musicians. My dad would sing in barbershop quartets for the fun of it. But there wasn't like a YouTube. The people that I met who did music for a living, like in various ways, and I would go to and talk to when I was younger, they wouldn't give me advice as much as just try to talk me out of doing it. That's all I got. You shouldn't do it. Probably because they're trying to they're worried. They're probably worried about me because they're looking at me and going like, "There's no way this guy's going to make it," and probably I appeared that way, and I probably it's probably what should have happened, but I wasn't able to get good advice from anybody. And then when I got older and I started meeting musicians and all that, all the advice was terrible. And even then I didn't know any better. I could tell that they didn't know what they were talking about. So I'm glad I can do that. And that's one of the things I want to be able to, if I can help somebody save them a few months or a year or two in their progress forward, then I'm willing to do it. And I want to pass the knowledge on. Oh, Luminous says, I was recommended your streams by a certain Party Like a Star rock star member, LOL. That could be several of them. I'm on good terms with most of them, but that's all I'm saying. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody asked about VST. I don't really want to get into technical stuff, but use a VST or an AU. Fucking doesn't make any fucking damn difference. People argue about it. Whatever. Fucking use whatever you like. Let's see. Whoa, my scroll's just. What the fuck happened to my scroll here? Oh my god. Oh, I don't even know where I'm at now. Hold on. Let me scroll back up. I was trying to get through all the comments. Oh my God, what happened here? Okay. I think I'm finding it. Whoa. Oh, I'm really behind here. Hold on. It's weird not having Kit here help me moderate this shit. Gabo says, love the chat today, Billy. Your show today was awesome. Thank you for being so honest and sharing your stories. Happy I could tune in live. I'm glad you were here. Thanks so much for being here. And please, everybody, please remember to subscribe. Please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because just because you subscribe doesn't mean that you always get notified of when a video comes out or when I'm streaming. So please make sure to hit that bell. No, okay, Justin. No, my Patreon is a little bit behind. There's a lot of shit on there, and I actually feel guilty about this every day. I've gotten behind. Um, yes, it's a little behind. Even if you want to join at the lowest thing, that's fine. I wouldn't pay the super amount because I got behind on it. There's actually a lot of videos up there. Like I did these deep dives. I can't remember how many did. I did a shitload of them, and they're long. I want to edit them down a little short. I just don't have time. There's actually a lot of stuff on there, and I need to get more stuff up there. I've gotten behind. I'm just trying to do a lot of stuff here. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm finally breaking down. I think I'm going to have to come up with the money to hire somebody to help me because I just not keeping up with everything, and I need to get there. I also may have bitten off more than I could chew. But even if you just get on there for a little while, go look at the videos, and if you get off, that's fine. But I'm not going to shit you, man. I've been way behind on Patreon. I was on it for a while. I got off of it because there's just a lot of shit going on. And then there was, there's just other shit that happened in my life a few months ago. Just people dying and shit like that. I fucking got a little depressed about it. It really set me back. Kind of sucked. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. Spy Guy says, I charge myself when recording. I'm a cheap bastard. Spy Guy, you're actually hitting on something kind of interesting, though. So Kit started doing this thing. So my wife does all my scheduling. And sometimes she'll say, hey, remember you got so-and-so coming in. You got this mix. And then sometimes I got a Zoom call or whatever. But there'd be sometimes she'd say, oh, I got something on here. You got a session. And I'm like, what is it? And she says, your most important client, you. So she'll book days. Oh, you're supposed to be, that's what you're doing. I'm like, oh, that's what I got to do today. And she makes sure that, I know when it's like that, it's like, okay, we have enough money to get by for a little while so I can focus on being in the studio. So actually booking yourself in the studio is actually like, look at yourself like a client. Think about it this way. Here's another funny thing about when you have a job. I want to do my art. But you'll go to a shitty job that you hate. You'll let somebody tell you, you got to be here at 8, you got to be here at 9, but will you schedule yourself to do your own art? If you look at yourself and your art, I guess here's another way about it. I think I started looking at as my goals and the things I want to accomplish as not me and like some hopeful wish as much as this entity, this thing that I need to fucking do. And then Crystal started actually booking me in the studio, like, oh, you're working on videos for the next 2 or 3 days. I'm like, oh shit. Which then I feel if I go upstairs and I'm eating lunch for too long, I know she's over there looking at me like, your lunch break is taking too long. Get back down on your, but hey, that actually helps. So what you're saying there is actually an interesting way of looking at it. Book time for yourself, for your art. So I'm saying. Somebody's asking about my album Frisbee Bomb Craters, which is up on Bandcamp. I don't have all the songs on it. I don't know if I'll ever I do have CDs that I need to fucking put in a store. Jesus, like an online store. I'm just so far behind on everything. Not all the songs are on the Bandcamp because some of the songs I just think kind of suck looking back on it. I mean, not the songs suck. Maybe my singing sucks. Or whatever, man. I put too many songs in the album. But if I do sell the CD, and I need to get that up on the website, all the songs will be on there. But I'm not going to do a vinyl pressing on that. I'm working on my new album, and that's what I'm focusing on now. Let's see. Casey, you're talking about recording and mixing drums and the amount of channels. I tend to over mic drums and use way more mics than I think I'm ever going to need because I can always turn them off. But there's always that weird chance. It's like, oh, I'm glad I put a ride cymbal mic on there because it's usually off sometimes. But then the guy's hitting the ride cymbal. It's not really coming through the overheads. I can just like EQ for that sound and just tuck it in the mix, but it's off the rest of the time. Jazzy says, I have a question. I would like to know if I can send you my rate sheet for my studio privately for you to evaluate to see if it's too expensive or not. Yeah, sure, go ahead. I'll look at it. I wouldn't be able to tell you whether it's too expensive or not because I don't know how good you are. I also don't know what circles that you're running in. But I'll take a look at it and tell you what I think. Just send it to contact Billy Hume at Gmail. And in the comments say, rate sheet or something like that. Billy said he would look at this. So in case Crystal's looking at it, she'll say, hey, Billy, this guy says, you know what I'm saying? Don't anybody else do that. I'm just, so Jazzy, go ahead and send it to contactbillyhume@gmail. Let's see. Yeah, so Jay-Z bass player. John Mayhall did music he loved for 60 years and never had a hit. He made enough money to live comfortably. I would say he made it. And actually, there was somebody, I forget who it was doing a YouTube video, and they're talking about your average person in the music business. They all live pretty much middle-class lifestyles if they're like touring or whatever, and that's really what it is. It's not like, even artists sometimes, and even ones that have a quote-unquote hit are still living, for the most part, a middle-class lifestyle. Most people, to get really rich, you probably need to be in the music business. It's only, not many people in the music business make that kind of money. Even the one that have hits. They might be slightly above middle class, but the point is, like, if you did what you love, that's the thing. So Michael says, no one likes to see their art die. Keep up the good work. That's right. It's tough sometimes. Yes. Let's see. Talk about drum miking, and then hold on. I'm getting through these comments here, and then I'm gonna have to go because I actually got to start working on this other video here. Oh, Josh. Okay, sorry. Somebody's texting me about one of my music videos. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait. Huh? What? Okay. Okay, I said I wouldn't talk about technical stuff, but I'll take a couple of them here. Yannick says, hello, Billy. I really wanted to ask you a question. What is the closest way to analog recording without an analog recorder? What else can I do to make a record close to an analog record? I mean, the best thing would be have good outboard gear, like good mic pre's, like some Neve type sounding mic pre's would be good. There's actually some pretty good tape emulating plugins out there. If you're in Pro Tools, they have that whole heat thing. It's a setting that you can turn on, and it's made by the technology comes from Crane Song, who make the plugins I like to use for tape saturation. Those plugins are only available for Pro Tools. They're called Phoenix, the Phoenix tape emulator or something like that. Fucking amazing. But the built-in heat setting in Pro Tools is kind of like that. The other thing is mostly about saturation. I actually don't like most of the tape emulating plugins out there. In Pro Tools, I just use the lo-fi, the old school, like the legacy lo-fi plugin, and there's a little button over there, knob that says distort. It's actually more like saturation. I just turn it to 1 or 2. But it's more about saturation. But the best thing you could do is, like, if you got good mic pre's to run your mics or your instruments through, that would probably be one of the best ways. We could talk about plumbing. No, we're not. Oh, actually, Michael says we could talk about plumbing. That's the other thing about it. People they think about my life and all that. So yeah, I make my money off music, but I also have a couple other small businesses, and I have a house that I rent. It's my old studio, and I've got somebody living there, but I still have to go down there and fix stuff. And I had the sink in the kitchen, the left sink started leaking. It's actually a very simple fix, but Darren ain't going to fix it. He's a drummer. Come on, man. So I had to go down there, and they couldn't use the left side sink in the kitchen for like a month because I couldn't. Luckily, they're very patient. So when I went down there to mix, because sometimes I go down and mix, I love that control room. So I went by the Lowe's and picked up the parts and fixed the sink. But I got to get back over there and fix the fucking toilet too. I hate fucking doing plumbing. It was actually the quickest plumbing repair I've ever done, ever. Everything, all the parts worked. It was fucking amazing. Let's see. 231 recording studio. My entire life has been a failure, but I'm on I'm okay with it. I'm honest and caring. Yeah, I mean, it's like most of what I try screws up, man. Let's see. What do I think of AI? Will it take over things? Fuck AI. I mean, AI, I was saying this morning to my wife, isn't it weird? When I started hearing about AI, I thought it would do things like take over like manual labor or shit like that, but AI's mostly at this point impacted the arts, which seems fucking stupid. And it's like I said earlier in the stream, I was going to talk about it, but I think I'm doing another stream about it. I get emails every single day from people wanting to do collaborations because of my YouTube channel. And sometimes it's like products, but I'm getting a lot of them from all these music AI companies. And I'm like, excuse me. I think it's kind of funny because I'm not doing AI music. It's stupid. But I got one the other day and it was like, I think what their suggestion was train their AI on my music. And then I do a video where I use their AI to make something that sounds like me. That's the stupidest fucking thing ever. Like, why the hell would I do that? I'm here. Will it take over things? It's going to take over a lot of shit, and I do think it's evil, and I think there needs to be government controls on it. And I also think that there's too many men in the world that have so much fucking money that they can just buy anything. My dad used to say nobody should be allowed to make so much money. Like nobody should be so rich they could control everything. And it's like, who's to say what that amount should be? And I still don't know what that amount should be. But over the years, I've thought like, yeah, I don't think it's right that literally, I saw somebody was talking about it. There's like 20,000 people. I forget what the number is, but like 20,000 people. Now is that, well, there was one group of them, but it's literally in the thousands. A small, enough people that you could put into like a decent sized venue that have most of the money in the world. And they have so much money that you have that kind of money, you can make anything happen. And I don't give a shit what politically, whatever. That can't be good because anybody with that much power and money is going to corrupt them. And what if they're a little crazy? Like Elon, you know what I'm saying? That motherfucker's crazy. I don't give a shit. I mean, he makes great cars. Well, he didn't actually make electric cars. But what I'm saying is that's what AI is, and it's getting shoved down our fucking throats. So don't get me on AI. That shit pisses me the fuck off. Yes, takes 10 years at anything to know what's up. You might be able to condense it quicker if you're working really hard, but it takes time. How many different things is it okay to focus on at once? Do you have any strategy for ranking priorities? That's from Isaac. No. How many things? I am focusing on too many things at once. That's my problem. Do I have a strategy for ranking priorities? Yeah, no, I'm just scrambling every fucking day. But that's why I got to hire somebody to help me. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and figure out how to pay for it. God. Let's see. Yeah, I think Harry's going to do some clips from this video. And Harry, I'll send it to you right after this. Let's see. They're talking about plumbing. Man, plumbing is just hard. I would say I could plumb a whole house. I've never actually done it, but I've done every little piece. So maybe there's parts of it. It's hard, man. And I've never been good at sweating a solder joint, like doing that whole thing. I moved on to shark bites. I still feel weird about the whole shark bite thing. They say it's permanent, but it kind of freaks me out. Like, it's like I've got shark bites on my water main coming into the house. And I still walk in there every couple of weeks like, that shit freaks me out, but I just can't freaking do this. I can solder mic cables. Can't figure out how to solder a damn copper pipe worth a damn. I don't know why. Okay. Whoa. Oh, man, it jumped down again. Hold on. God, I'm trying to get through these comments and the damn thing. Okay. Fuck. Oh, Chronic Dream. Okay, do color picture vinyl records have a lower quality than black vinyl? I don't think so, Michael. I mean, Chronic Dream. I don't think so. Thanks for the tip. Okay, hold on. Oh my God, I'm trying to get through the comments here, but I keep losing my damn place. Hold on. God, what happened? Oh, it's doing this weird thing where it's updating in chunks here. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I found where I was. Huh? Oh, hold on. Hello?
Hey, what up, brother?
Hey, I'm live streaming right now. You're on the air.
Oh, nice, man. Sorry we've been playing phone tag.
It's all right. Oh, I'm talking to Luke right now. Luke Campioletta. Luke, did I say your last name right?
Yeah, man.
Okay, got it right. Yeah, man. I wanted to talk to you about. Hey, did you get the links I sent? Did I send you the music video links?
I don't remember seeing any links. No.
Okay, I actually made 2 music videos. I sent you. I was actually calling you about Pro Tools because I got a session in. I've been working on that Mike Clark Jr. stuff, and I had one of those weird things like you bring the Pro Tools, you open up somebody else's Pro Tools session. It's like you got a venereal disease. Like everything goes nuts.
Yeah.
And I had this thing where like the video window would pop up, and every session I opened up after that, the video window would pop up and I have to close it. But then everything, so I reset my preferences, and now shit's acting weird. But there's other things I must have spent I don't know. There's some details I got to talk to you about. But somebody was saying that once I get my setup, there's a way to save my preferences in Pro Tools.
Yeah, because what you can do is you can make a clone of your system drive. So like if your preferences get mixed up, you can then recopy your system drive, and it'll the preferences that you saved on your clone.
Oh, that makes
drive.
Okay. That's simple. I thought there was some. Okay, that was one of the things I was calling to you about. But I was also going to check in. But I'm actually live streaming now, so say hi to everybody.
Oh, hey. Oh, today Wednesday? Today is Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Nice, dude. Hell yeah. That's great.
Well, anyway, yeah, we just got to hook up sometime. I'll probably head down to Atlanta. I got to get down there and do some more. I'm trying to film more B-roll and stuff, so maybe I'll swing by. Any particular days that are good for you?
You said this week or next week?
Just whenever. Like, what days are good for you?
Usually, top of the week, I'm either in Decatur or we've been going to Nashville a lot.
Oh, shit.
And I'm usually back in Atlanta, like end of week.
Where are you working at in Nashville?
We work at a couple places. If Blackbird's available, Blackbird's awesome. Starstruck is awesome. They have 2 SSLJs, which are awesome. We work at Backstage, which is on Music Row, which is awesome.
Cool.
The Castle, which is a castle out in Franklin, Tennessee, which is awesome. There's a bunch of cool studios, man.
Hell yeah, man. Shit. All right. I got to hook up with you. I got to pick your brain about some stuff.
Yeah, man. Sorry again. I keep missing your call.
No worries, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. Sounds good, brother.
All right. Bye. That's a real engineer right there. Sorry, I had to take that call. We've been trying to get on the phone for like 2 freaking weeks. Okay. Okay, so Isaac says many people we hope to be mentors are mostly just looking at it for themselves. From my short experience on this earth, yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, it's exactly. We all need to make money. Like I want to start selling some courses and all that. But God, I don't want to mention any names, but I know some of these people, and sometimes it's like, yeah, they're mentors, but sometimes I think the videos they make are just fucking crap. Just as a way, like, I know I'm going to get a few 100,000 views on this, and there's some money right there, and I don't know, man. I just like, I don't know. I really struggle with that. I'm a do-gooder. I actually care. So it is a bit of a struggle. Let's see. Yeah, somebody said, oh, Luminous, you're good at YouTube, but don't let it take over your life. I mean, I am trying to go full time on YouTube. I would rather do that. I mean, I love mixing and all that. I'm not going to stop doing it. It's going to be more in the context of the YouTube channel, but you know, I like doing the YouTube stuff. Time makes you older. Randy says time makes you bolder, and even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Yep. Oh, okay. Now I'm getting back. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to get the chat because I had to go back because I hadn't been looking at anything. Jimmy says, what do you think about, oh God, I have not been over there on Twitch. Hold on. What do you think about distribution for new artists, services like DistroKid and its competitors, or do you suggest Bandcamp or other opinions? They're all kind of crap. I'm on TuneCore now, and I struggle with them. I was going to get off of it, but then I heard all this stuff about DistroKid. It all fucking sucks, and they're all run. I don't think there's actually a human at TuneCore. It's all fucking AI shit, and I'm paying the top. I'm paying the top level to get like 20-hour support, 24-hour support, but they still make mistakes, and you know, it's all kind of crap. But it's an opportunity to get your shit out there. Bandcamp. I actually make money on Bandcamp. Like somebody, like people, and I don't even have much up there, but somebody actually downloaded Frisbee Bomb Craters, which I don't even think I was charging for. I can't remember. Some of the stuff's free, but they paid $10 for something. Or maybe they downloaded one song and paid me $10. People are very helpful and supportive. And that's the thing I like about Bandcamp. And you can, you know, I put stuff up there for free and people still paid me money. And that was really, really cool. I did all this research. I actually did a video about it and compared all the different distributors. And then when I was thinking about getting off of TuneCore, I look into them and all of them have bad things about them. And you know, so it's just like, I don't know, man. I wish I could suggest one to you. I kind of think they all kind of have their downsides. I stuck with TuneCore because I already got the damn account there and whatever. I really, you know, but if you want to get any support, you got to pay the top level thing, and you will get an email in 24 hours. Because until I was paying that, I would go for weeks and not get any support. Now I get kind of shitty support, you know. The best thing I'd say is like, if you like, I would say do it on Patreon, and I hate to say it because I feel like a hypocrite because I'm not doing well on Patreon. But Patreon's a place where we could really control things, and people like being there. I don't have many people on there, but the ones that are on there have been very supportive. You could do that. I would suggest I would do the distributors, but on the other hand, I'd focus on something like Bandcamp or doing a Patreon thing like that. That's my opinion. Because all that streaming, they can get you on all these platforms, but you ain't going to make any fucking money off of it. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm getting slowly caught up on these comments here. Oh, hold on. Okay. Beato's good twin. That's funny. Yeah. Gabo says, I find it hilarious that tech bros are trying to convince us that we should switch to AI so we can press a button to make a perfect song. Dude, I love making music. The process is the best part. I fucking agree. I don't even. I get why some people would want to use AI or whatever, but it's just. And it's theft. It's just fucking theft. All that stuff's been trained on stuff that we've done for years illegally. But they are going to get away with it because they got billions of dollars and they can pay off people or blackmail them or whatever the fuck that they're doing. But, you know, it's a crime. It should be illegal what they're doing because they're training on other people's work, and then those people are not getting compensated for it. So yeah, I just think it's yeah. Oh, damn it, it did it again. My chat. God dang it. Hold on. And I'm finally okay, I think I'm catching up here. Get an editor. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I need somebody who can really help me edit the stuff like on a full-time basis. I've got some people that help me sometimes, and they're doing it, you know, just out of volunteering, which I really appreciate. But they don't have that, you know, it's not like they can do it full time. I couldn't pay somebody full time, but I can pay somebody part time. I would also like to have somebody, hopefully, that lives nearby because I think that'd be helpful. But I don't know. I'm going to start looking. I got to do something. God, boy, this plumbing conversation is going on. It's funny as hell. Lead pipes. Oh my God. Okay. I'm in Georgia. Michael was asking. Oh my God. Okay. y'all having funny conversations on here. Um, Yuri says, your comment during the live about staying strapped has me cleaning my sword. I actually have swords around the studio. Actually, I was doing a drum session. There were 2 drummers in recently, and I went up there, and after they left, I realized I had like 3 swords leaning into the corner right next to the drums. And I was like, oh, man. I mean, I always have swords laying around, but they were looking at it like, kind of like, there's weird stuff around my house. Okay. My chat here is just going nuts here. It's just, it just doesn't scroll right. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate you saying that about my streams. Oh yeah, Spy Guy. Somebody was talking about Tape 16 is booming. Fun DAW apparently. So Tape 16 is a DAW on your computer, but it works like a tape machine. Like if you punch in, it erases shit. I'm like, yeah, ooh, but it looks cool as shit, and I think I want to look into it and mess around with it some. Because I think, and I made a video about this, about analog it being better, and a lot of it's about the process because of how it forces you to do things. I think that's pretty damn cool. KG says, best thing new artists can do is focus on cultivating their own small audience. That is so important. I think one of the mistakes people make when they're doing music, they're looking at it like, I need to get 1 million supporters. I need to get 1 million fans. So, no, you need like 100 diehard fans. How you could even do it with less. But if you can get a small group of diehard fans that'll help you promote and all that, and then they always buy maybe a little bit every year or whatever of your merch, you can make shit happen. You need like, if you could get 1,000 diehard fans that always buy every year your album and a t-shirt and come to one show, that can really add up to something. Don't think about trying to get 1 million. Don't try to think about getting 1 million people. Try to get a small group of loyal people. Oh, somebody just sent me money. Okay. Try CD Baby, Chronic Dream says, I thought about that. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll finally caught up on my comments. All right. Yeah, so they're talking about over here on Twitch about AI. Something, download your song and upload it again. There's this woman who does, I think she does some kind of like acoustic, I don't know if it's bluegrass or whatever, but somebody copied her song and re-uploaded, and then her music, like her with her sound and her song and all that, and then re-uploaded it, and then went after her to get her music taken down, saying they're infringing on her. It's actually been all over the internet, all over social media and all that. Expect more of that to happen. There needs to be some sort of government regulation, but unfortunately we've got an administration in America right now that is against regulation. They just think everything should be kind of crazy. Chronic Dream says, Ditto is another distributor. They also do syncing. I'll look into them because I still might change. Thanks, Chronic Dream. I appreciate it. All right, so I think I'm caught up on chat here, and Okay, Laid Back Beat says, if the military will pay for me to go to school like Full Sail or Crash, should I even get it at the age of 47? Reposted question. I'm kind of weird about going to the schools. I know Full Sail does a good job. They just charge a shitload of money. And I feel like you could probably learn what you need to learn by just finding a way to work with some people who are really good at what they do. Like if you can get in the studio with them, an intern, and just hang out and watch them work. It's just a lot of freaking money. I would put that money into like supporting yourself and going places and buying some gear. That's my opinion. Alrighty. Boy, you guys You guys have some conversations going on here. I almost wish that I could. Sometimes I get off the stream. I wish I could just keep the chat going. And y'all can keep talking. But yeah, don't get you started on this administration. Jesus, tell me about it. Yeah, KG says, internet is definitely a double-edged sword. On one hand, there's slop everywhere. On the other hand, you can, as Billy says, grow an audience that can fund your craft and provide good services. I mean, I bitch about this shit, but yeah, like back in the day, I had no way. Like when I put out that music video last week, I was like, oh, I haven't put a video out in years. And then I realized, oh, I've never actually done a music video, because when I had bands, we didn't make music videos because we couldn't afford a camera that was decent enough. And then what would you do with a video? There was no internet back then. So it was like my first music video. But the ability, if you're willing to like compete with the hordes of crazy shit out there and all the stuff that's getting uploaded, you can build an audience. Whereas in the old days, I would have to go, if I wanted to promote a gig in another town, like I'm going to play in Birmingham, Alabama, how would I promote there? I would have to like drive there and put posters up or something like, which I did. I drive to Birmingham 2 weeks in advance and put posters up, hoping somebody would come into the club, which, man, to me, I like being able to do this. You know, the world could be so amazing if there weren't a bunch of assholes running it. Literally, we should be able to afford, everybody should be able to have food to eat and not have to worry about getting sick and have an internet that protects rights. There can still be rich people. It's all right. Y'all can still be rich. But if you think about the money that's been spent on this war, like even seeming like Elon Musk. Elon Musk could give every American, just not that I'm suggesting you do it, but Elon Musk could give every American $1 million, and they would still be either the richest man on the world or maybe the second richest man in the world. Why won't they do that? Because they don't want us to have any fucking power feel good. They want us. I think they literally want to fucking break us. I'm kidding you not. But I just think it's kind of ridiculous. Like we could actually have a decent world if the assholes weren't running it. Just saying it. Yeah, somebody, God, I'm having a hard time reading this. My say, Nil SRP. I went to school learning studio work back in 1987. But the only thing I actually learned was to think in a new way. Learning the work I learned by doing the work. Yes, exactly. All right. Well, folks, I think that I am going to end the stream, because I already did my rant and I've answered some questions. And this is actually a short stream for me. I normally stream for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And actually today I was going to be working on a new song, but I'm not ready. So I am going to end the stream, and I got to get back on a video. Actually, I bet I'm going to get off the stream and check my email, and there's going to be tweaks on this mix I worked on last night. I already know it. I'm going to have to and they're in a rush. Both of the mixes I've been working on were on super fast rushes. So I probably will work on that because they got to get it done. So anyway. KG says, how come you were big and deep in the early 2000s crunk scene, but you never embraced New York rap? I was deep in it because those are my friends. I mean, they literally, like, through some weird chance, it's a long story, I became friends with Bone Crusher, and then I met Lil Jon and Yin Yang Twins and all that, and they were having the hits, and I did mix some, I mixed something for Nas, and I did some stuff for Busta Rhymes and all that, but it's not like I didn't embrace it. I was just working all the fucking time. I wasn't even planning. I stayed in rap for many years. I was only trying to stay in it long enough to pay off my credit cards, and then I did that, and then I just hung around because I liked everybody, but it's not like, it's not like it was just what I was doing, that's just who I knew, and I was booked all the fucking time, and then I wanted to get into rock and roll and stuff like that. This is where I live, and that's everybody that I knew, and I did some other stuff, but it's rap music wasn't something I was trying to do. It just kind of happened. I mean, I did focus on getting into it because I knew I could have some success there and I could be the man for a while, but it's not like I was trying to stay there forever. I play mandolin and I do other stuff. It's not like my natural thing. And like I said, those are my friends and it all just made sense. So, you know. Okay, so, all right. So everybody, I'm going to say good day and thanks for watching so much. I appreciate it. To those who asked about the Patreon thing, sorry I've been behind on it. I'm getting there. It's all going to happen. I appreciate everybody watching my rant and having a conversation here. I'm going to try to stream next week. Hopefully I'll be working on a song. I keep saying I might stream late at night, but it never works out. But just keep an eye on it. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the bell, the notification button. Otherwise, it doesn't always alert you to when I'm going to be streaming. I've got another video coming out. There's more to come. But just stay tuned. And yeah, thanks everybody so much. It's awesome. And thanks to my unnamed super supporter and super fan who emailed me and caused me to do this live stream today. That made a huge impact on me. So thanks for getting me off my butt and making me stream today. So y'all have a good one. I will talk to you later. Have a good day and always be unique. Take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5, take whatever.